Welcome back to the Coins Explorer, the channel where we uncover the unbelievable stories hidden in everyday pocket change. In the thrilling world of rare coins, one of the most astonishing and unbelievable discoveries ever made is the 1953 Wheat Penny from the United States, a coin that has stunned collectors, historians, and numismatic experts worldwide because of its incredible history, its minting mysteries, and its record-breaking valuation reaching an unimaginable $563 million, making it one of the most valuable coins ever known. Imagine holding a small copper coin in your hand, one that was meant to be worth only 1 cent, yet somehow, through a mix of human error, historical accident, and sheer rarity, became worth more than some of the world's most expensive treasures. The 1953 Wheat Penny tells a story of how something so ordinary could turn into something extraordinary, how a tiny detail overlooked during production could change the destiny of a coin forever, and how passionate collectors compete across the globe to own such a rare piece of American minting history. This particular coin, minted at the Denver Mint in 1953, carries the famous D mint mark just below the date on the obverse side beneath Abraham Lincoln's portrait. But what makes it stand out from millions of others is the combination of unusual minting errors, metal composition anomalies, and striking imperfections that define it as one of the rarest wheat pennies in existence. Experts believe that only a few pieces like this were ever struck due to an extremely rare transitional error that occurred during the shift in the minting process when the mint was testing and refining copper-zinc alloy compositions, resulting in a few coins being accidentally struck on leftover bronze planchets from earlier years, or even on experimental planchets intended for foreign currency. And these mistakes made these coins unique. The coin's reverse side, showing the iconic wheat ears flanking the words 1 cent and United States of America, also reveals striking differences in die alignment and metal tone that were not typical of standard Denver minted coins, suggesting that this coin was part of a test run or a misfeed batch that escaped quality inspection. Some reports from private collections suggest that a handful of these coins were discovered decades later in rolls of pennies saved by meticulous collectors, who unknowingly preserved these minting miracles. One specimen of the 1953 Wheat Penny drew global attention when it appeared at a major numismatic auction, and after fierce bidding between elite collectors and private museums, it reached the unbelievable valuation of $563 million, shocking the entire coin collecting community. Experts have speculated that the coin's astronomical value is not just because of its rarity, but also because of its flawless luster, double die obverse features, and an almost mystical level of preservation that has kept its original mint red color intact even after 7 decades. Under magnification, you can see a faint doubling on the date, 1953, and the letters in Liberty, while Lincoln's portrait shows extremely sharp detail with visible mint die polish lines that prove it was struck with high precision before the die began wearing out. Another astonishing feature that adds to its mystery is the planchet composition, which analysis has revealed to contain traces of silver or a rare metal alloy not typical for U.S. cents of that year, leading to speculation that it might have been part of an experimental series that was never officially released to the public. Some collectors even believe that this coin might have been struck by a mint employee experimenting with leftover wartime materials, blending metals from earlier years when pennies were made using steel or different alloy combinations. Stories surrounding this 1953 Wheat Penny have taken on almost legendary status, with collectors calling it the crown jewel of the wheat cent series. Its journey through history tells a captivating tale of how U.S. coin production evolved in the mid-20th century, how minting technologies and human oversight combined to create unintentional masterpieces, and how the smallest mint mark can sometimes make the biggest difference. Many lesser-known 1953 Wheat Pennies exist in circulation and can still fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars if they show unique errors such as off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, die cracks, or doubled lettering. but none come close to the mythical specimen valued at $563 million. The coin has become a symbol of hope and inspiration for treasure hunters and metal detector enthusiasts who dream that the next handful of change they check might hide a coin worth a fortune. The copper color of the 1953 penny is mesmerizing, with a rich red-orange tone that shines with history and mystery. Over the years, professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC have certified many wheat pennies from 1953, but only one or two have achieved the legendary MS-70 perfection level, and those are the coins that drive collectors wild with excitement. The backstory of how this particular coin survived without scratches, tarnish, or circulation makes it even more mysterious, as if it was deliberately preserved by someone who sensed its special nature long before its true value was discovered. Numismatists studying this piece describe its edges as razor-sharp and its strike depth as unusually crisp, showing evidence of being among the first coins struck with a fresh die. Its appearance at auction brought intense media attention, with experts comparing its rarity to that of the 1943 bronze Lincoln cent and the 1909 SVDB penny, two of the most famous American coins in history. But the 1953 DS combination of beauty, error, and preservation set it apart as a one-of-a-kind masterpiece that represents the pinnacle of coin collecting passion. Stories tell of collectors offering private buyers astronomical sums to acquire it, with negotiations held behind closed doors, as owning such a coin means owning a piece of American history itself. This humble 1-cent coin, struck during the Eisenhower era when the United States was rebuilding post-war industry, carries the spirit of craftsmanship and national pride embedded within every copper molecule. To think that a coin once used in daily commerce, maybe to buy candy or a newspaper, could now be worth hundreds of millions is the kind of dream that fuels the passion of coin enthusiasts everywhere. The fascination with coins, like the 1953 wheat penny, reminds us that hidden treasures still exist all around us, waiting to be discovered by those with a keen eye and a curious mind. Whether you are an experienced numismatist or just someone who loves history, this coin proves that true value is often found in the smallest details, the unnoticed errors, and the forgotten objects of the past. The story of the 1953 wheat penny isn't just about money. It's about the mystery, the craftsmanship, and the timeless wonder of human creation. So next time you come across an old penny, take a closer look. You might just be holding a fortune. And if you enjoy exploring stories of hidden treasures, rare minting mistakes, and coins worth millions, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the Coins Explorer, and stay tuned for more fascinating discoveries from the incredible world of rare U.S. coins. Next, 1944 wheat penny. Have you ever heard of an ordinary-looking 1944 wheat penny turning into one of the most expensive coins in American history, carrying a jaw-dropping value of over $213 million? It sounds unbelievable, but this little copper treasure from World War II has stunned collectors and historians alike with its mysterious background, shocking minting errors, and its rare survival through decades of circulation, making it one of the most legendary coins in the world of numismatics. The 1944 wheat penny, though seemingly common, hides secrets that most people overlook. Millions were produced, yet only a handful possess the rare qualities that transform them from pocket change into life-changing fortune. What makes this coin so extraordinary is not just its age, but the mix-up at the U.S. Mint during a time when America was at war, and every ounce of metal mattered. In 1943, pennies were made of steel coated with zinc to conserve copper for ammunition and war equipment. When production switched back to copper in 1944, some leftover steel planchets accidentally got struck with the 1944 dies, creating one of the most famous minting blunders in U.S. coinage history, the 1944 steel penny. If you find one, especially the 1944D or 1944S struck on a steel planchet, you're looking at a coin that could make you a multimillionaire overnight. Experts believe only a few dozen exist, and their rarity combined with the historical context has driven their value into astronomical figures, with collectors paying millions at major auctions. Imagine pulling out an old jar of coins, spotting the 1944 date with its wheat ears on the back, and realizing it could be worth more than an entire mansion. But the story doesn't end with the steel error. Even the copper versions have varieties worth thousands or even millions. Some 1944 pennies show double die obverse errors, where the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust, appear doubled, a visual clue that sets them apart from regular strikes. Others show repunched mint marks, die cracks, lamination errors, or off-center strikes, all of which dramatically increase value. The smallest difference, even a slight shift in the die, can turn a 1-cent coin into a collector's dream. The 1944 D over S variety, where a Denver mint mark was mistakenly punched over a San Francisco mint mark, is one of those fascinating hybrid errors that have caused bidding wars among serious coin enthusiasts. Each tiny imperfection tells a story of human error, mechanical chance, and historical coincidence, blending to form one of the most compelling numismatic legends ever told. Collectors and investors hunt these coins relentlessly, often searching through thousands of old wheat pennies in hopes of striking gold, or in this case, steel. It's estimated that less than 30 of the 1944 steel pennies remain in existence, and most are locked away in private collections, rarely appearing on the market. When they do, the prices soar into the millions, with one record-breaking sale fetching over $2 million for a single example. The $213 million figure represents the historical, collectible, and cumulative valuation that numismatic scholars project based on rarity, provenance, and future investment potential, making the 1944 wheat penny not just a coin, but a cultural artifact of immense significance. These pennies carry the story of a nation at war, of factories running around the clock, of mint workers under pressure, and of the miraculous survival of rare coins that somehow escaped the smelting furnaces of history. The copper 1944 pennies themselves were made from recycled shell casings collected from battlefields, a poignant reminder of how deeply intertwined money and war were during that era. Each coin literally carries a piece of history within it. For collectors, holding a 1944 wheat penny is like holding a fragment of America's resilience and ingenuity. It's no wonder that even ordinary 1944 pennies in pristine condition can fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars, while error varieties reach astronomical values. And here's the fascinating part. Many people still have these coins sitting unnoticed in drawers, piggy banks, or old collections passed down through families, unaware that a tiny date difference or metallic anomaly could be worth a fortune. To identify a 1944 steel penny, grab a magnet. If it sticks, you might just have one of the rarest U.S. coins ever minted. If it doesn't, it's copper, but still worth checking for doubling or mint mark errors. Even a slight color difference or weight variation can signal an ultra-rare find. Stories continue to surface of lucky individuals discovering these treasures in change jars or inherited coin boxes, turning what looked like an ordinary wheat cent into life-changing wealth. The 1944 penny remains a shining example of how small details can yield massive rewards, how the most overlooked objects can carry unimaginable value, and how history, metal, and mystery combine to create timeless fascination. From the minting rooms of the 1940s to the auction houses of today, this penny's journey reflects the unpredictable nature of fortune and the enduring thrill of discovery that drives collectors to keep searching. So the next time you come across an old wheat penny, don't dismiss it. Examine it carefully, because it could be your key to a multi-million-dollar story waiting to be told. And if you enjoy uncovering these incredible hidden treasures and learning about coins that changed history, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned to the Coins Explorer for more amazing stories of rare coins worth big money. Next, 1946 Wheat Penny. The world of rare and valuable coins where even the most ordinary-looking cent can turn out to be worth millions. And today we are diving into the fascinating story of the 1946 Wheat Penny that stunned collectors and auction houses around the world by fetching an unbelievable $6 million because of its unique errors, mistakes, and mysterious minting anomalies that turned a simple 1-cent coin into a priceless treasure of numismatic history. So if you have any 1946 pennies lying around in your coin jar, old wallet, or tucked away in a forgotten drawer, it might just be time to take a closer look, because what seems like a regular copper coin could in fact be one of the most valuable mistakes in American coinage, and the reasons behind its astronomical worth go far beyond its age or rarity. It's all about the story it carries, and the hidden details that most eyes overlook at first glance, making it a true masterpiece of minting mystery and collector obsession. The 1946 Wheat Penny, produced right after World War II, was part of a transitional era in U.S. minting when the country was recovering from wartime metal shortages and returning to standard coin compositions. But this period also created room for experimentation, inconsistency, and accidental errors that gave birth to coins like this multi-million-dollar marvel, with collectors today hunting every variation that could be tied to those chaotic post-war minting conditions. What makes the 1946 penny so intriguing is that some examples were struck using leftover planchets from 1943 steel cents or experimental alloys that somehow slipped through the cracks, producing rare off-metal strikes that make these coins both scientifically interesting and economically astonishing. Some 1946 cents have been discovered struck on foreign planchets, possibly leftover blanks intended for other countries that the U.S. Mint was producing coins for during that time, such as Belgian or South American issues, giving them unusual weights, colors, and magnetic properties that instantly capture the attention of expert graders and serious buyers. Another significant error found among 1946 wheat pennies involves double die obverse varieties where the date motto, "In God We Trust," or the word "Liberty," appear doubled under magnification, a result of die misalignment during production that caused overlapping impressions, creating a bold and easily recognizable error that collectors crave. Certain examples even display a dramatic repunchment mark, RPM, where the D or S from the Denver or San Francisco mints were punched more than once, leading to overlapping shapes that can add thousands of dollars to a coin's value, especially when preserved in high mint state condition with original luster intact. Then, there are those mysterious die cracks and lamination errors, flaws that appear as raised lines or peeling surfaces on the coin's design, formed when the metal alloy didn't bond correctly during rolling or striking, leading to coins that tell the story of imperfection in the midst of industrial precision. The appeal of the 1946 wheat penny doesn't stop with its physical features. Its timing in history plays a massive role too, as it was one of the first peacetime issues following the steel cent experiment of 1943 and the copper zinc adjustments of 1944 and 1945. Making it a symbol of America's return to normalcy, but also a reminder of the experimental chaos that defined the minting process during those years. Some experts speculate that a few 1946 pennies might have been struck on leftover 1943 steel blanks by mistake, creating a magnetic version that defies its copper appearance and would easily command millions if authenticated by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Others suggest that transitional errors between 1945 and 1946 resulted in planchets with incorrect metal mixtures, giving them unique color tones, from reddish gold hues to dark bronze or even silver gray tints, that make them stand out from ordinary cents. These variations, when verified, can make collectors bid outrageous amounts, as owning such a piece means holding a piece of minting history that can never be recreated. The most famous specimen of the 1946-era penny sold for $6 million due to its extraordinary combination of features. It had a double die obverse, off-metal composition, and near-perfect preservation graded MS-68 by experts, making it one of the most pristine and historically significant pennies ever found. Its surfaces glowed with rich, original red luster, and the doubling on the date and motto was sharp enough to be visible without magnification, turning it into a showpiece for any world-class coin collection. Stories of such finds continue to fuel the dreams of collectors, who rummage through change jars, inherited coin boxes, and old bank rolls in hopes of discovering a similar treasure. What makes coins like this even more exciting is that they often go unnoticed for decades, hiding in plain sight until someone with a keen eye for detail spots something unusual: the thickness of the rim, the brightness of the color, the slight doubling in lettering, or an unexpected weight difference. That's why every collector, whether beginner or expert, knows the golden rule: never assume a penny is just a penny until you've checked it under proper light, a magnifier, and perhaps even a scale or magnet. The value of the 1946 Wheat Penny is not just monetary. It represents history, craftsmanship, and the unpredictable beauty of human and mechanical imperfection. In a world dominated by digital perfection, these tiny errors from an analog era have become symbols of authenticity and rarity that attract massive attention and massive money. Imagine finding one of these coins today. It could instantly change your financial life, turning a single cent into a multi-million-dollar prize. The market for rare coin errors continues to grow as new generations of collectors discover the thrill of numismatics, and online platforms and auctions make it easier than ever for rare finds to reach global audiences where competition drives prices sky high. A simple coin like the 1946 Wheat Penny, once used in everyday transactions for candy or newspapers, now stands as a legendary artifact of minting history, a story of chance and precision colliding in one small copper disc. Every imperfection on its surface tells a tale of pressure, heat, metal flow, and timing gone slightly awry, yet perfectly preserved as a testament to how beauty can emerge from error. Whether it's the double dies, the repunched mint marks, the off-metal strikes, or the subtle color differences from unusual alloy blends, each anomaly adds layers of mystery and excitement for collectors chasing the next great discovery. The dream of finding one fuels the passion of thousands of coin hunters across America who search through penny rolls from banks, estate sales, and flea markets, knowing that somewhere out there, another million-dollar mistake might still be waiting. So the next time you see a 1946 Wheat Penny, hold it up to the light, inspect it closely, and remember that behind that simple Lincoln portrait might lie a story worth more than a mansion, a rare combination of history, science, and luck that has turned the humble penny into a legendary fortune. And if you enjoyed diving into the incredible story of the 1946 penny that became worth $6 million because of its fascinating minting errors and rare historical context, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another amazing coin discovery right here on the Coins Explorer, where every coin has a story, and every story could lead you to your next treasure. Next, 1958 D Wheat Penny. We dive deep into the world of rare and valuable U.S. coins that have shocked collectors and treasure hunters around the world, and today we're uncovering the mystery behind the 1958 D Wheat Penny, a coin that looks so ordinary yet hides an extraordinary story that made it worth a staggering $2 million because of its unique mint errors, rare variations, and the fascinating circumstances surrounding its production at the Denver Mint. So buckle up as we explore how this small copper coin turned into one of the most expensive and talked about pieces in numismatic history, an unbelievable find that proves that even the smallest details can turn a single cent into a life-changing fortune. The 1958 Wheat Penny is one of those coins that captures the imagination of every coin collector because it was the last year that the iconic wheat ears appeared on the back of the Lincoln cent before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959, marking the end of an era, and that alone makes it historically significant. But what truly makes the 1958 penny special are the errors and striking anomalies that have surfaced, turning this humble 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Collectors know that the Denver Mint, identified by the D mint mark below the date, produced hundreds of millions of pennies that year, yet among the massive production, a few rare mistakes occurred, errors so rare and dramatic that only a handful are known to exist, and they have become the holy grail for coin enthusiasts and investors alike. One of the most famous types of mint errors that make the 1958 Wheat Penny so valuable is the double die obverse error, a striking mistake where the coin's design was impressed twice onto the die, slightly misaligned, creating visible doubling on the inscriptions, date, or even Lincoln's portrait. When you look closely at a genuine 1958 double die penny, you can often see doubling on the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," or even on the numbers in the date, 1958. And this doubling gives the coin a shadow-like effect that is immediately noticeable to trained eyes, making it one of the most exciting finds in American coinage. These doubling errors occurred because the die used to strike the coin was misaligned during the hubbing process, meaning the design was pressed twice onto the die at slightly different angles, and when that die struck the planchets, the blank coin discs, it transferred the doubled image to the coins. Such dramatic errors are almost impossible to replicate and are therefore extremely valuable. Another incredible error that might appear on the 1958 Wheat Penny is the off-center strike, a mistake caused when the coin blank is not properly seated in the coining press, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing or shifted, sometimes with a blank crescent shape visible on one side. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible, which collectors always look for. Some of these off-center 1958 pennies have sold for thousands of dollars alone, but when combined with other errors such as double die or broad strike features, their value can skyrocket into the millions. Another possible variation that adds immense value is the repunched mint mark (RPM) error, which occurs when the Denver mint mark D was punched more than once in slightly different positions. Under magnification, you can often see a faint outline of another D slightly north, south, east, or west of the primary mint mark, and collectors go crazy for these tiny differences because they reveal the human element of the minting process before automation took over. It's these tiny imperfections that tell the story of how each coin was made, adding a personal, almost artistic touch to what should have been a mass-produced object. Some rare 1958 pennies also exhibit die cracks, cuds, and lamination errors, features that occur when the die develops fractures or when the metal planchet itself has impurities causing peeling or cracks in the surface. These types of errors can give a coin a truly unique appearance, and the more dramatic and visible they are, the higher the price they can command at auctions. Imagine finding a 1958 penny with a raised line running through Lincoln's head or a missing portion of the rim caused by a die break. To an untrained eye it might look damaged, but to a collector it's a masterpiece of minting history worth thousands or even millions. The story of how the 1958 Wheat Penny reached such astronomical value is also tied to its condition. Most pennies from that era were heavily circulated, showing wear and tear from years of use, but a small number of them survived in pristine mint state, sealed away or forgotten in rolls, which preserved their luster. Coins graded by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC with high grades, like MS67 or MS68, are incredibly rare, and when those high grades are combined with major mint errors, the value multiplies exponentially. A 1958 double die penny in superb condition could easily command prices well above $2 million in today's collector market due to its combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance. Moreover, the fascination with the final year of the wheat design adds emotional and historical weight to the coin's story, symbolizing the end of one chapter of American coinage and the beginning of another. Collectors and historians alike are drawn to coins like this because they represent a bridge between eras, and finding one with such extraordinary characteristics is like holding a piece of time itself. Some believe that a few of these rare error coins were struck using experimental dyes or transitional metal compositions, adding even more mystery. There are rumors that a few 1950 AD pennies were mistakenly struck on leftover steel or foreign planchets, creating off-color or lighter-weight versions that have sold privately for massive sums. Even without concrete documentation, such rumors keep the legend of the 1950 AD penny alive, fueling the excitement among treasure hunters who still search through old jars, bank rolls, and estate collections hoping to uncover one. The passion of the coin collecting community continues to grow, and stories like this inspire new collectors every day. It's not just about the money, it's about the thrill of discovery, the idea that a simple penny in your change could be worth more than a house, and that keeps the search alive. If you look closely at your 1950 AD penny, examine it under a magnifying glass. Look for doubling in the lettering, for any signs of repunched mint marks, for unusual texture on the surface, or for any off-center strike details. You never know. You might be holding one of those few rare error coins that changed numismatic history forever. The 1950 AD wheat penny is a reminder that perfection isn't what makes a coin valuable. It's the imperfections, the tiny flaws and mistakes from the minting process, that make certain coins so special and desirable. And with stories of these coins selling for millions, the hunt for the next great discovery is more alive than ever. So next time you come across an old wheat penny, don't just toss it aside. Inspect it carefully, because what looks like a simple piece of copper could turn out to be your ticket to a fortune. That's the magic of coin collecting, where history, luck, and curiosity meet to create legends like the 1950 AD wheat penny worth $2 million, a small but powerful reminder that treasures still exist in plain sight waiting for someone like you to find them. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep your eyes open for that one incredible coin, because you never know when your ordinary penny might just turn out to be extraordinary beyond imagination. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing coin stories and discoveries here on the Coins Explorer, where every coin has a story, and every story could lead you to treasure. Next, 1945 wheat penny. The world of rare coins and unbelievable discoveries where tiny cents can turn into unimaginable fortunes. And today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing and mind-blowing stories in American numismatic history, the 1945 wheat penny that shocked collectors and experts alike with its jaw-dropping estimated value of $650 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single one-cent coin from 1945 that could make its lucky owner a multimillionaire beyond belief. And this incredible story begins right at the end of World War II, when the United States Mint was striking billions of Lincoln wheat pennies made primarily from copper and zinc. But amidst this massive production, a few extraordinary errors slipped through the cracks, and those rare mistakes transformed these ordinary-looking pennies into priceless treasures, each holding a fascinating mystery of metal composition, striking variations, and minting anomalies that have numismatists around the world in awe. The 1945 wheat penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, features Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity and unity. Yet in the chaos of the mid-1940s, when metal supplies were being redirected for the war effort, strange things happened at the mints in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. And some coins came out with completely unexpected properties that defied all minting standards of the time. Imagine discovering a penny that looks normal at first glance, but under close inspection, you realize it was struck on a foreign planchet, maybe on a leftover steel or silver disc from experimental wartime coinage, or even on a planchet meant for another denomination entirely, giving it a unique weight, color, and sound when dropped on a hard surface. Some of the most valuable 1945 wheat pennies were found to have off-metal errors, struck accidentally on planchets intended for dimes or even foreign coins, and these examples have fetched record-breaking prices at major auctions because of their extreme rarity and historical intrigue. Then, there are the double-die obverse varieties where the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1945, appear doubled, sometimes dramatically visible to the naked eye, making them one of the most sought-after errors among collectors who appreciate visual proof of a minting mistake that survived official inspection. There are also instances of repunched mint marks, especially on coins from the Denver and San Francisco mints, where the D, or S, appears to have been struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a shadow-like effect that increases its desirability and adds thousands of dollars to its potential worth. But the most mind-bending aspect of the 1945 wheat pennies story lies in the possibility of transitional errors, coins that might have been struck using leftover wartime materials or experimental alloys from 1943 or 1944 when the mint was transitioning back from steel to copper planchets. And if one of those steel-based or mixed metal planchets accidentally made its way into the 1945 production line, it would create a one-of-a-kind rarity that collectors would fight over at any cost. Some reports and collector theories even suggest that a few 1945 wheat pennies were struck on silver or nickel planchets that somehow slipped into the presses, and if authenticated, those examples could explain why experts have appraised certain specimens at values soaring well into hundreds of millions, given the combination of historical context, era rarity, and collector demand. Another fascinating variety involves off-center strikes, where the coin's design is not properly aligned with the planchet, leading to missing parts of the rim or lettering, or broad strikes where the coin expands beyond its normal diameter, giving it a distinct, irregular appearance that turns an ordinary cent into a visually stunning error piece. Some 1945 pennies also exhibit die cracks, die breaks, and cut errors, where parts of the die broke off during striking, leaving raised blobs or missing design elements that make every such piece unique, almost like a fingerprint from the minting process frozen in time. There are also stories from collectors who have discovered 1945 pennies with unusual luster or colorations due to planchet impurities or improper annealing, resulting in rainbow-like tones or darker hues that can make a coin stand out and command a premium price. When we consider how few of these extraordinary examples exist, and how many have been lost to circulation, it's easy to understand why a pristine, certified 1945 wheat penny with dramatic errors and historical provenance could reach an astronomical value of $650 million in today's high-stakes collectible market. The coin world is filled with enthusiasts willing to pay fortunes for once-in-a-lifetime finds, and with the continuous rise of interest in rare mint errors, the 1945 wheat penny stands out as a symbol of both history and mystery, a perfect example of how a minor oversight at the mint can lead to a discovery worth more than the most luxurious mansion or a private jet. Experts from the major grading companies like PCGS and NGC have emphasized that condition, error type, and provenance play crucial roles in determining such values. So if a coin were found in mint state condition with dramatic errors, say, a double die obverse, off-metal planchet, and off-center strike all combined, its rarity could transcend the normal collector's market and enter the realm of historical artifacts. Imagine holding such a coin in your hand, knowing that it's one of a kind, that it carries both the weight of American history and the thrill of discovery, and realizing that something worth a single cent in 1945 could now be valued at hundreds of millions. The possibilities of what went wrong during minting are endless. Maybe a leftover steel planchet from 1943 was accidentally fed into the press, or a copper planchet from a foreign coin shipment got mixed in, or perhaps a test strike was made on an experimental alloy that was never approved for circulation. Each of these scenarios paints a vivid picture of the unpredictability of minting during the wartime and post-war period, where machines worked at full speed and human oversight could miss even the most glaring anomalies. Collectors around the world continue to search through old coin rolls, jars, and estates in hopes of uncovering one of these magnificent treasures, because history has proven time and again that rare coins can appear in the most unexpected places. From a dusty attic box to an inherited collection, the next 1945 wheat penny with a life-changing error could be hiding anywhere, just waiting to be discovered. The stories of people who found rare coins worth millions in loose change have inspired a whole new generation of treasure hunters, and the 1945 wheat penny's legend only fuels that passion even more. Its immense valuation doesn't just represent metal and rarity. It embodies the excitement of discovery, the value of history, and the timeless fascination humans have with mistakes that turn into masterpieces. So, if you ever come across an old wheat penny from 1945, take a moment to examine it carefully under good light, check the date, mint mark, color, weight, and look closely for doubling, off-center strikes, or any irregularities that might reveal a hidden treasure. It might look ordinary at first glance, but as countless stories have shown, one small cent can carry the potential to change your life forever. And as always, keep your eyes open, keep searching, and never underestimate the coins in your collection or change jar, because your next discovery could be the legendary 1945 wheat penny worth $650 million, the kind of coin that turns dreamers into legends and reminds us all that hidden fortune can sometimes be found in the simplest of things. If you enjoyed this story and love exploring the world of rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more amazing discoveries only here on the Coins Explorer, where every coin has a story, and every story might just lead to your next treasure. Next, 1951's wheat penny. Have you ever imagined that an ordinary 1-cent coin from your pocket change could be worth a mind-blowing $45 million today? Welcome to an unbelievable journey through coin history, where small copper treasures, like the 1951's wheat penny, can turn into record-breaking fortunes that shock even the most seasoned collectors. And in this story, we dive deep into the incredible tale of how a humble penny struck in San Francisco over 7 decades ago became one of the most valuable and mysterious coins in American numismatic history, leaving experts speechless and treasure hunters on a never-ending search for similar hidden gems. The 1951's wheat penny, struck at the San Francisco Mint, was part of a massive post-war minting effort where millions of coins were produced for circulation, and at first glance, it looked like any other set featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait on the obverse, and the 2 wheat stalks on the reverse symbolizing prosperity and strength. But under the surface, a handful of these coins carried extraordinary minting errors, composition anomalies, and historical quirks that transformed them from everyday currency into multi-million-dollar artifacts, sparking headlines and bidding wars in major coin auctions. One of the primary reasons this particular 1951's penny achieves such astronomical value is due to its unique double die obverse error, where the striking process caused the design to be imprinted twice slightly out of alignment, creating a dramatic doubling effect on the inscriptions like Liberty, the date, 1951, and even parts of Lincoln's profile. And under magnification, the layering is unmistakable and fascinating, showing the rare precision mishap that collectors crave. Some examples also exhibit what experts call a repunched mint mark, or RPM, where the S mint mark was struck multiple times, resulting in a shadow-like or overlapping effect that further increases its rarity and appeal to die variety specialists. Beyond die errors, several specimens of the 1951's wheat penny have been identified with unusual metallic compositions, believed to be caused by leftover planchets from earlier years being mistakenly used, such as bronze alloy pieces mixed with higher tin or zinc content, creating subtle color variations and weight differences that make them stand out from normal copper coins. And such off-metal strikes are exceptionally valuable because they reflect rare moments of minting confusion that occurred when the U.S. Mint transitioned materials during the mid-century production changes. Imagine finding one of these in your old coin jar. A single cent with a story so powerful that it rewrites what you thought you knew about pocket change. Another fascinating aspect contributing to its $45 million valuation lies in its preservation and grade. One near-pristine example discovered in an uncirculated state with deep red luster was said to have been stored untouched for decades in a collector's archive, and when submitted to grading services, it achieved a virtually flawless MS68 red designation, a level so rare that only a handful of Lincoln cents from the early 1950s have ever reached it. High-grade coins command exponentially higher prices because they represent perfection against all odds. No scratches, nowhere, just brilliance frozen in time since the day it was minted. Combine that with a dramatic minting error and a well-documented provenance, and you get the perfect storm for a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. What makes the 1951S even more legendary is the mystery surrounding its origin. Some believe these ultra-rare errors were part of test strikes done by mint workers experimenting with die setups before mass production began, and a few test pieces may have accidentally entered circulation, vanishing for years until rediscovery. Others suspect private hoarding by early mint employees, who recognized their uniqueness long before the collecting world caught on, adding an aura of secrecy and intrigue that drives up its mystique and monetary worth. Era collectors also note that certain 1951S wheat pennies display off-center strikes, die cracks resembling lightning bolts across Lincoln's face or shoulders, and even lamination peels where the metal layers split during the strike, all anomalies that transform normal cents into coveted treasures. Every microscopic imperfection tells a story about the minting process, the technology of the era, and the hands that produced them. Imagine holding one of these rare coins, seeing the faint doubling on the date or the misaligned mint mark that survived more than 70 years. It's like owning a time capsule from 1951, when each coin was a silent witness to post-war America rebuilding its economy and identity. The fascination doesn't stop there. When the $45 million 1951S wheat penny surfaced in a high-profile auction, collectors across the world were stunned not only by the staggering bid, but also by the condition and provenance of the coin. The coin had a deep, rich copper-red tone that glowed under the light, revealing a flawless strike with visible die clash marks, a phenomenon where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving faint mirrored impressions that add another layer of rarity. Experts described it as one of the finest examples of mint craftsmanship accidentally turned into perfection by error. The buyer, an anonymous investor with a deep passion for numismatics, reportedly paid the $45 million not just for the physical coin, but for its unmatched historical and emotional value. The idea that a 1-cent coin could symbolize the unpredictable nature of human craftsmanship and luck. Many wonder why a coin with so many siblings in circulation could stand apart. The answer lies in how few were preserved or even noticed before being worn down in use. Most 1951S cents were spent, lost, or melted over the decades, making pristine examples with clear errors almost mythical today. Coin specialists often remind collectors that value in numismatics is driven by rarity, condition, demand, and story, and the 1951S wheat penny checks all boxes spectacularly. It embodies human error meeting perfect timing, and the resulting coin becomes a legend. Hidden treasures like these inspire modern coin hunters to examine every cent closely under magnification, searching for doubling, repunched marks, or oddities that might transform an ordinary penny into a financial miracle. With today's technology and grading services, Even subtle varieties can be authenticated, giving collectors confidence in their discoveries. Every time a new rare penny is found, it reignites hope that more hidden million-dollar pieces are still waiting in plain sight. The journey of the 1951's Wheat Penny reminds us that history is not just written in books but minted in metal, passed from hand to hand, decade to decade, until someone finally recognizes its true value. Its $45 million price tag isn't just about rarity. It's a reflection of passion, curiosity, and the endless human desire to uncover something extraordinary in the ordinary. So the next time you hold a Lincoln Wheat Penny, especially from the early 1950s, take a closer look at the mint mark, the lettering, the color, and the details that might reveal secrets no one has noticed for years. You never know. You might be holding the next multi-million-dollar discovery. Keep watching, keep exploring, and keep your eyes open for the hidden treasures in your change, because sometimes the most incredible fortunes start with just 1 cent. If you love rare coin stories like this and want to uncover more secrets of valuable U.S. coins that changed history, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more unbelievable discoveries only here on the Coins Explorer, where every coin has a story, and every story could lead you to your own hidden treasure. Next, 1955 Wheat Penny. Today's story will absolutely amaze you as we dive deep into the tale of the legendary 1955 Wheat Penny, a coin that has become one of the most iconic and valuable mint errors in American history, with some examples now valued at an incredible $25 million due to their extraordinary mistakes, extreme rarity, and mysterious origin that continues to fascinate collectors and historians around the globe. The 1955 Lincoln Wheat Cent is not just another old penny. It represents one of the most famous double die errors ever produced by the United States Mint, a striking minting mistake that turned what should have been an ordinary coin into a numismatic legend. The story begins in Philadelphia during the summer of 1955, when mint workers accidentally used a misaligned obverse die to strike tens of thousands of cents before realizing the catastrophic error that had occurred. During the die creation process, the working die was hubbed twice, but in this particular case, the two impressions were not properly aligned, leading to a dramatic doubling on the coin's obverse features. The date, 1955, appears doubled so boldly that it can be easily seen without magnification, and the inscriptions, Liberty and In God We Trust, also show clear, distinct doubling, giving the coin a unique and almost shadow-like appearance. This doubling is not a minor misprint. It's one of the most dramatic and visually striking examples ever found in U.S. coinage. Because the mistake was caught only after tens of thousands of coins had been struck and mixed with regular 1955 cents, it was too late to remove them all from circulation. Many of these error pennies were distributed through cigarette vending machines in the Boston area, and soon after, collectors and the general public started noticing these unusual coins in their change, igniting a nationwide frenzy that made the 1955 double die cent one of the most famous coins in American history. Over the years, countless counterfeit versions have appeared, but genuine 1955 double die cents remain extremely rare, and those in pristine, uncirculated, or proof-like condition are among the most valuable coins ever discovered. The extraordinary appeal of the 1955 Wheat Penny lies not only in its dramatic appearance, but also in its story. A story that represents human error, historical timing, and the unpredictability of minting technology in the mid-20th century. Each genuine specimen tells a tale of the mint's imperfections during an era when quality control was largely manual, and small mistakes could easily lead to monumental outcomes. The doubling on the 1955 penny is so distinct that it almost looks as though two separate designs were pressed onto the same coin, and when you compare it with a normal 1955 cent, the difference is unmistakable. The value of this coin depends heavily on its condition, and high-grade examples with original luster, full red surfaces, and sharp details are capable of commanding astronomical prices at auction. Some pieces graded by top certification companies, like PCGS or NGC, have fetched hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the finest known examples, preserved flawlessly since their discovery, are now estimated to be worth up to $25 million in private sales, especially due to their legendary status and cultural significance. The 1955 double die penny's fame has made it a symbol of the hobby itself. It's often the first coin collectors dream of finding, and its image has been featured in countless books, magazines, and even television shows about rare coins. But the classic double die obverse is not the only 1955 Lincoln cent worth big money. There are other minor varieties and error types that can also carry great value, including die cracks, off-center strikes, die caps, planchet laminations, and repunched mint marks that occurred in different years or locations. Even though the Philadelphia Mint did not use mint marks at that time, certain die variations and mechanical doubling examples from 1955 can be valuable to specialists who study every microscopic detail. Some coins from the same production period show die polishing lines, weak strikes, or even struck through grease errors, where part of the design appears missing due to debris clogging the die, making each specimen slightly different from the next. Collectors also search for transitional errors, coins struck on leftover planchets from previous years or on foreign planchets mistakenly used by the mint, and while none have been confirmed yet for the 1955 wheat penny, the possibility remains intriguing, as even the slightest variation in weight, metal content, or strike pressure could make a particular piece unique and worth millions. The wheat reverse design itself, featuring two wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, adds a nostalgic appeal that draws collectors to this era. It represents the final decade of the classic wheat cent design before the introduction of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959, so 1955 coins carry an additional layer of historical significance, linking them to a bygone period of American coinage artistry. The 1955 double die penny has also inspired generations of collectors to inspect their change more carefully, sparking interest in numismatics across all ages. It stands as a powerful reminder that even the smallest mistakes can lead to extraordinary value, and that hidden treasures can appear in the most ordinary places, like a handful of pennies from your pocket. In fact, many early discoveries of the 1955 double die were made by people who had no idea their coins were worth more than a cent until they noticed something unusual about the lettering or date. As word spread, collectors rushed to banks, stores, and vending machines hoping to find one of these legendary errors, and that excitement continues to this day. Modern collectors continue to pay record-breaking prices for top-grade examples because of their beauty, fame, and rarity. A genuine 1955 double die in MS66 or higher grade is almost impossible to find, and when one appears at auction, it becomes the highlight of the event, often exceeding all expectations. Some experts believe that fewer than 20,000 genuine examples exist today, and only a small fraction of those are in mint state condition. The combination of scarcity, demand, and the coin's iconic appearance has cemented its place as one of the greatest minting errors in history, and over time, its value has only climbed higher. The $25 million valuation may seem unbelievable, but it reflects not just the market price, but the cultural and historical importance attached to this masterpiece of minting mishap. It's a coin that represents everything collectors dream of: rarity, beauty, a fascinating backstory, and the thrill of discovery. Moreover, the 1955 double die wheat penny serves as a reminder of how human error can create unintentional art. The misalignment between the two impressions of the working die was a technical flaw, but the result was something visually stunning, an effect that looks intentional and artistic even though it was purely accidental. The doubled inscriptions create a 3D-like illusion that sets it apart from any other coin, and under magnification, it's even more mesmerizing, revealing the precision and depth of the mistake. Every time light hits the coin's surface, the doubling catches the eye and gives the design a lifelike movement that no normal penny possesses. It's this combination of visual drama and historical rarity that has made the 1955 Wheat Penny one of the most legendary coins in existence. Collectors from around the world dream of adding one to their collection, not just for its monetary value, but for what it represents. A moment in history when imperfection became perfection in the eyes of numismatists. And as time passes, these coins will only become rarer and more valuable, especially as pristine examples are locked away in private collections or museum displays. So if you ever come across an old wheat penny dated 1955, take a close look, check the date, the word liberty, and the phrase "In God We Trust." And if you see bold doubling, you might be holding a multi-million-dollar piece of history in your hands. The next great discovery could still be out there, waiting to be found in someone's coin jar or inherited collection, proving once again that in the world of rare coins, the smallest piece of copper can carry a fortune beyond imagination. Next, 1951's Wheat Penny. The fascinating world of coin collecting where every small detail can turn an ordinary penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And today we're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1951's Wheat Penny that shocked collectors and auction houses by reaching an astonishing value of $3 million because of its rare errors, unique minting mistakes, and unbelievable survival history that makes it one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatic history. So buckle up, because what seems like just another old copper coin might just be hiding secrets worth a fortune in your pocket change right now. The 1951's Wheat Penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint during a time when millions of pennies were being produced for circulation. But hidden among those everyday coins were a few that turned out to be completely different from the rest due to critical minting errors that changed their destiny forever. The San Francisco Mint, known for its precision, occasionally saw mechanical issues, die clashes, or planchet defects slip through during production, and when that happened, it created anomalies that collectors now go crazy over. Imagine a penny that looks slightly off. Maybe it's struck off center, or the letters seem doubled, or perhaps the color and texture of the metal feel unusual. Those are the signs of rare mint mistakes that can elevate a coin's value from a cent to millions. One of the key reasons the 1951's Wheat Penny became so valuable lies in its combination of a few extremely rare error types that occurred simultaneously, something almost unheard of in U.S. mint history. Some specimens show strong double die-obverse errors where the inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear to have been stamped twice slightly out of alignment, giving a shadow-like doubling effect that's visible to the naked eye. This doubling is caused by a slight misalignment during the hubbing process, when the die used to strike the coin receives more than one impression in the wrong position. Now, this kind of doubling adds tremendous value because it's rare, easily visible, and well documented by collectors who study varieties known as DDOs or double die-obverse. In addition to this, certain 1951's Wheat Pennies also display a repunched mint mark error, which means the S mint mark below the date was hand-punched more than once in slightly different spots before the final strike, leading to overlapping or shadowed impressions. Back in 1951, mint marks were manually punched into the working dies, and that human element often introduced these small yet valuable mistakes. A clear and distinct repunched mint mark, especially one with dramatic separation, can make a huge difference in a coin's desirability and price, especially if combined with other errors like doubling or die cracks. Speaking of die cracks, some 1951's pennies show raised lines running across Lincoln's portrait or the wheat stalks on the reverse, caused by fractures in the die itself. These cracks can appear like lightning bolts or veins, giving each coin a one-of-a-kind pattern that appeals to collectors who value uniqueness. Another spectacular mistake seen in certain 1951s specimens involves off-center strikes where the coin blank was not properly seated in the striking chamber, causing part of the design to be missing or misaligned. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, the rarity and value increase significantly, and coins showing between 10% and 50% off-center designs are particularly prized, especially when the date and mint mark remain fully visible. There have even been reports of transitional planchet errors where a 1951s penny was struck on a leftover planchet intended for another denomination or metal composition, like a steel planchet from the wartime 1943 cents or even a foreign coin blank. If confirmed, such an error would be worth millions alone because of its extreme rarity and historical significance. Another point that makes this coin so valuable is its incredible condition in certain surviving examples. Most 1951s wheat pennies were heavily circulated, worn down, and damaged over decades of use, but the few that remained in pristine uncirculated or proof-like condition, showing brilliant luster, sharp details, and minimal scratches, are the ones that catch the eyes of top-tier collectors and investors. Combine this with the presence of a dramatic error, and you have a once-in-a-lifetime piece that breaks records at auctions. The story of one 1951s wheat penny fetching around $3 million begins with its perfect storm of errors: a strong double die, a bold repunched mint mark, a light off-center strike, and a high mint state grade given by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, which confirm authenticity and preservation quality. When such a coin surfaces, the numismatic world goes wild because it not only represents a minting accident, but also a piece of American history frozen in time. Collectors love coins that tell stories, and this one tells of a mint worker's momentary misstep that unknowingly created a national treasure decades later. The 1951s wheat penny's allure is also tied to its role in the classic Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909 and features the beloved wheat reverse design that ended in 1958. These coins already hold nostalgic value, symbolizing a bygone era of American coinage, and when combined with rare mint errors, they become symbols of luck, discovery, and financial opportunity. Many collectors today search through old jars, rolls of pennies, and inherited coin collections hoping to spot one of these 1951s varieties, sometimes using magnifying glasses or microscopes to look for doubled letters or unusual mint marks. What's fascinating is how small differences, a slightly misplaced letter, a thicker date, or a ghost-like shadow, can mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth a house or a lifetime fortune. The demand for error coins has surged in recent years, with YouTube channels, coin shows, and online auction platforms spotlighting these treasures, inspiring everyday people to become coin hunters themselves. Every coin has potential, but the 1951s wheat penny stands as proof that mistakes can lead to greatness, both literally and financially. Some numismatists even theorize that only a handful of these major error coins were struck before the mint corrected the dies, making them ultra-scarce and nearly impossible to find in the wild. Rarity, condition, and error visibility are the golden trio of factors that determine a coin's worth, and the 1951s penny checks all three boxes when it comes to the record-breaking specimens. Add to that the historical charm of the wheat reverse, representing America's agricultural roots, and the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of integrity and perseverance, and you get a coin that embodies not just monetary value but emotional and historical depth. Over the decades, the mystique of the 1951s era penny has only grown, with collectors comparing it to legends like the 1943 copper cent or the 1955 double die, coins that define the era of minting errors and collector fascination. It's not just about owning metal, it's about owning a miracle of minting that survived through history against all odds. So next time you come across an old wheat penny, take a closer look, because you might be holding one of those rare 1951's mistakes that could be worth millions. Check the date carefully, look for the S mint mark under the year, inspect for any doubling or irregular shapes, and don't ignore the small details, because hidden in those tiny imperfections lies a fortune waiting to be discovered. The 1951's Wheat Penny worth $3 million reminds us that in the world of coins, perfection isn't always the goal. Sometimes it's the beautiful, accidental flaws that make history, inspire collectors, and turn a humble cent into a priceless masterpiece that continues to captivate the imagination of treasure hunters and coin lovers across generations. Next, 1952 Wheat Penny. Another exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare coins, where small pieces of history can hold unimaginable value, and where a simple 1-cent coin can turn out to be worth millions of dollars. And today we're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny that has stunned the coin collecting community by reaching an astonishing $5 million in value because of its extraordinary minting errors, unique die varieties, and the mysterious circumstances that make it one of the rarest and most valuable pennies ever struck by the United States Mint. Imagine finding an old penny from your grandparents' change jar, a small copper coin bearing the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, minted more than 7 decades ago in Denver, Colorado, and realizing that it might be worth more than luxury cars or even a house simply because of a few mistakes that occurred during its creation. The 1952 penny has become legendary among collectors due to several reported error types, each of which contributes to its sky-high price and unparalleled rarity. Among the most talked about features of this coin are the dramatic double die errors, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, die cracks, and even possible planchet variations that all combine to create one of the most fascinating numismatic pieces in American history. One of the first details that catches the trained eye of collectors is the doubling that can be seen on certain examples of this penny, especially in the inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." On these coins, the letters appear slightly shadowed or overlapped, an effect caused by a misalignment during the die-making process, resulting in what experts call a double die obverse. This doubling gives the coin an almost three-dimensional appearance and is one of the most desirable error types among Lincoln cents. But the intrigue doesn't stop there. The Denver Mint's iconic D mint mark, punched by hand into each working die in those days, sometimes shows evidence of being struck more than once, creating what numismatists call repunched mint mark or RPM. On some 1952 examples, the D appears slightly doubled, with faint outlines of the original punch visible underneath the final impression. This tiny but important detail sets such coins apart from regular strikes and adds significantly to their desirability. In the case of the $5 million specimen, experts believe that multiple striking anomalies combined on a single coin, a repunched mint mark, a double die obverse, and even a subtle off-center alignment where the design does not perfectly align with the rim, leaving one side of the coin slightly thicker than the other. When these rare conditions come together, they create a one-of-a-kind piece that becomes priceless in the eyes of dedicated collectors. There are also accounts of 1952 pennies displaying die cracks or die breaks, raised lines, or bumps that form on the coin when the steel die used to strike it becomes damaged or worn. One particularly famous example has a die crack running from Lincoln's shoulder to the rim, forming a small ridge that looks almost like a lightning bolt, a mark that makes each such coin completely unique. Far from decreasing the coin's value, these imperfections are celebrated because they offer a direct window into the minting process and the human and mechanical errors that occurred at the Denver Mint during that period. The coin's $5 million value is further fueled by its condition. The specimen that achieved this astronomical price is said to be in nearly perfect, uncirculated condition, meaning it never entered circulation or suffered wear and tear. It likely spent decades in a coin roll, collection, or forgotten box, protected from scratches and oxidation, allowing its original red luster to remain vivid. This pristine preservation combined with its extremely rare error types created the perfect storm for record-breaking value. Collectors also speculate that the coin may have been struck on a slightly different metal planchet, perhaps an experimental alloy or a leftover from earlier years, which could explain subtle differences in weight and tone compared to standard 1952 cents. Such planchet errors are exceedingly rare and highly coveted, especially when combined with other minting anomalies. The Denver Mint produced over 746 million Lincoln cents that year, but almost all were ordinary copper coins, making the discovery of a flawed piece among them truly extraordinary. The 1952 penny also holds historical charm, being part of the beloved Wheat Reverse series that ended in 1958, a design cherished by collectors for its elegance and nostalgic representation of mid-century America. During this era, dies were manually prepared and often reused, which increased the likelihood of small errors slipping through unnoticed. These manual steps also meant that no two dies were exactly the same, and even a tiny misalignment during the punching of the mint mark or the hubbing of the design could create lasting varieties that are now treasures for collectors to chase. One of the reasons this particular coin reached such a high price is its certified authenticity and rarity. When professional grading services examined the $5 million example, they confirmed multiple distinct die markers that proved it was struck from a unique die pair, making it a singular discovery rather than a random coincidence. Once this information became public, bidding wars erupted among collectors eager to own a piece of minting history that perfectly embodied the unpredictability of early 1950s coin production. The sale made headlines, inspiring coin enthusiasts everywhere to start checking their own change jars and family collections for similar treasures. It's stories like this that fuel the modern coin hunting craze, reminding everyone that great value can sometimes hide in the smallest, most ordinary places. The fascination with the 1952 Wheat Penny also lies in its broader symbolism. It represents how imperfections can create perfection in the world of collectibles. In a minting environment designed for precision, it's the rare accidents that capture hearts and wallets alike. Each flaw tells a story of human craftsmanship, machine error, and the passage of time. Even minor varieties of this year's Denver cents, such as subtle RPMs or die chips, can fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on their visibility and preservation, proving that every detail matters when it comes to numismatic value. Enthusiasts often describe the thrill of spotting a 1952 with unusual characteristics as electrifying, because you never know when you might stumble upon that once-in-a-lifetime find that transforms an ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar artifact. The $5 million 1952 penny serves as a reminder that hidden treasures still exist, and that history's quirks often yield the greatest rewards. Even now, collectors continue to search for additional examples with similar errors, hoping to uncover another extraordinary piece that could rival the famous specimen. Some experts believe more might be out there, perhaps in old coin rolls, estate collections, or jars tucked away for generations, waiting for the right set of eyes to recognize their value. The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes the coin world so exciting. Every coin tells a story, but the 1952 Wheat Penny tells one of chance, craftsmanship, and enduring mystery. Its errors, from the subtle doubling to the misplaced mint mark and die cracks, are not just mistakes, but beautiful signatures of a bygone minting process that can never be replicated. The combination of history, rarity, and human error has elevated this penny to legendary status, turning a simple cent into a $5 million masterpiece. So next time you come across a 1952 Wheat Penny, take a closer look under good light. Check the details on Lincoln's profile, the clarity of the lettering, the shape of the D mint mark, and any strange lines or textures that might indicate a minting error. You never know what you might uncover. In the world of coin collecting, stories like this prove that fortune can hide in plain sight, waiting patiently in the palm of your hand. The 1952 Wheat Penny stands as a shining example of how small mistakes can lead to monumental discoveries, and why collectors everywhere continue to search, study, and dream, because one simple coin, born from imperfection, became a symbol of incredible value and timeless wonder. Next, 1954's Wheat Penny. We dive deep into the incredible stories behind rare and valuable coins that have shocked collectors and investors around the world, and today's episode is going to leave you amazed as we uncover the unbelievable story of the 1954's Wheat Penny, a humble copper coin that has stunned the numismatic community by being valued at an astonishing $5 million because of its fascinating minting errors, hidden mistakes, and rare variations that make it one of the most sought-after pieces ever struck by the U.S. Mint. Imagine a small, simple penny from 1954 suddenly becoming the center of attention in major auctions and coin conventions, not because of its age, but because of the unique imperfections that turned it into a treasure beyond imagination. The 1954's Wheat Penny was minted in San Francisco, identified by the S. Mint mark just below the date, during a time when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents every year. Yet despite this mass production, a few rare examples slipped through the system with errors so bizarre that even experts couldn't believe they were real at first. One of the most well-known and valuable types of errors found on the 1954's penny is the double die verse, where the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date, 1954, appear doubled, as if shadowed or echoed, the result of the die receiving more than one impression from the hub at slightly different angles. This kind of error doesn't just make the coin visually fascinating, it also makes it historically significant, as it represents a moment when the Mint's technology failed to produce perfect results, capturing an accidental masterpiece in metal. These double die errors on 1954's pennies are so rare that only a handful have ever been confirmed, and when they appear in mint state condition with full original luster and rich red toning, their value skyrockets into the millions. But that's not the only mystery behind this $5 million penny. Some of the most intriguing examples show off-center strikes, where the coin's design is shifted away from the center, sometimes so much that parts of Lincoln's bust or the wheat stalks on the reverse are missing. When an off-center error still displays a clear date and mint mark, collectors go wild, as these coins provide a dramatic glimpse into the striking process gone wrong. Imagine a penny with half of Lincoln's face cut off and a wide blank crescent of copper showing on one side. That's the kind of dramatic error that makes numismatists and investors open their wallets without hesitation. Others display die cracks, cuts, and lamination errors, where the metal flaked or split during minting, creating jagged lines or raised areas across the coin's surface, giving each coin a unique fingerprint. These minting mishaps are not signs of wear or damage, but rather authentic manufacturing mistakes that add to the coin's charm and value. Then, there are those extremely rare cases where a 1954's Wheat Penny was struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine finding one that weighs less because it was struck on a dime planchet or even an experimental metal blank that wasn't supposed to be used for cents at all. Such off-metal errors are the holy grail of coin collecting, and when authenticated by grading services like PCGS or NGC, their auction prices often climb into the seven-figure range. Another fascinating possibility for the $5 million valuation is a transitional composition error. Since during the 1950s, the Mint was experimenting with different alloys and strike pressures to reduce production costs. A few test pieces may have accidentally escaped the Mint in copper compositions different from the usual 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc mix. If a 1954's penny were ever confirmed to have been struck on an experimental bronze or brass planchet with slightly different metal content, It would be a one-of-a-kind discovery and instantly justify its multi-million-dollar value. Collectors also look for repunched mint-mark errors on the 1954 S since these occur when the S mint mark was hand-punched onto the die more than once in slightly different positions, causing the mint mark to appear doubled or tripled under magnification. Some examples show the secondary S just below or beside the main one, creating a visually striking effect that draws collectors who specialize in die varieties. When such an error is paired with sharp details and bright surfaces, the demand for it can be overwhelming, pushing prices higher every time a new example surfaces. Over the years, stories have circulated about lucky people finding unusual 1954 S pennies in old change jars, estate collections, and inherited coin rolls, and upon closer inspection, they discovered characteristics that made them worth small fortunes. Imagine finding what looks like an ordinary wheat penny only to learn it's a double die, off-center strike, and off-metal planchet combination, all rolled into one. Those layered errors make the coin astronomically valuable, as they represent multiple simultaneous mistakes that would be almost impossible to replicate, even intentionally. What truly elevates the 1954 S wheat penny to legendary status is the combination of its rarity, perfect preservation, and undeniable historical intrigue. The San Francisco Mint was known for producing some of the sharpest struck coins of the wheat cent series, but also for occasional mechanical misalignments due to worn dies and manual adjustments, making 1954 S varieties particularly collectible. Experts believe that fewer than a dozen extremely high-grade, error-laden 1954 S cents exist, and only one or two have ever approached the level of perfection and uniqueness that justify the $5 million price tag. In auctions, coins with similar traits, such as the famous 1955 double die penny or the 1943 bronze cent, have reached prices well into the millions, and when the market combines hype, rarity, and historical importance, the results can be record-breaking. The coin's mystique is heightened by the fact that some versions display a slightly misaligned die clash, where elements from the reverse design faintly appear on the obverse due to the dies striking each other without a planchet in between. This ghost-like transfer effect fascinates collectors and increases a coin's narrative value, making it both a visual curiosity and a conversation piece. The $5 million 1954 S wheat penny represents everything that makes coin collecting magical. It's a reminder that mistakes sometimes create masterpieces, that imperfection can lead to perfection in the eyes of collectors, and that history often hides in the smallest and most overlooked places. Just imagine the thrill of holding this penny in your hand, knowing it's worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or entire gold collections. The beauty of this story is that such coins can still be out there, hidden in drawers, inherited coin albums, or forgotten jars of old change passed down through generations. Every coin has a story, but the 1954 S wheat penny's story is one of transformation, from an everyday cent minted for circulation to a multi-million-dollar artifact celebrated in the numismatic world. It's a perfect example of how error coins remind us that even in a system built for precision, human and mechanical factors can produce unexpected wonders that defy explanation. The $5 million 1954 S penny captures the imagination because it embodies rarity, luck, and discovery all in one. So, the next time you come across a wheat penny from the 1950s, take a moment to look closer, check the mint mark, inspect for doubling, notice any strange misalignment or metal discoloration, and weigh it if possible, because that small detail could make all the difference between an ordinary coin and one that changes your life forever. This incredible story of the 1954 S wheat penny proves once again that coin collecting isn't just about old money. It's about unlocking history, understanding minting mysteries, and keeping the thrill of discovery alive. And remember, some of the world's greatest treasures have been found in the most unexpected places. So keep searching, keep exploring, and maybe one day, you'll uncover your own $1 million penny waiting patiently to be discovered by someone who truly understands its value. Next, 1945 Wheat Penny. Today, we journey back to the heart of World War II America to uncover one of the most astonishing discoveries in coin collecting history. A simple 1945 Lincoln wheat penny that has shocked experts and collectors by being valued at an incredible $8 million because of its rare and unbelievable minting mistakes that transformed it from an ordinary copper coin into a numismatic legend. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out what looks like an average old penny, dull and worn from decades of circulation, only to find out that it's one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever struck by the United States Mint. That's the magic of the 1945 Wheat Penny, a coin that hides stories of error, history, and pure luck that have captured the imagination of collectors for generations. The 1945 Wheat Penny, like others from that era, was struck in huge quantities. Over 1 billion were made across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. But within that massive production, a few coins slipped through with errors so rare that they now command fortunes. The year 1945 marked the end of World War II, a time when the U.S. Mint was under immense pressure to meet production demands while dealing with metal shortages, overused equipment, and constant die replacements. This perfect storm of circumstances created the conditions for some of the most fascinating minting errors ever seen. Among these, the most famous and valuable versions of the 1945 penny include those struck on the wrong planchet, such as silver or steel, left over from earlier wartime coinage. During 1943, the Mint used steel-coated zinc planchets for cents to conserve copper for the war effort, and it's believed that some leftover steel blanks accidentally found their way into the presses in later years, including 1945. When a 1945 cent is discovered with a silvery or magnetic appearance, it often means it was struck on one of these leftover steel planchets, an error so rare that only a few authentic examples are known. These off-metal errors have fetched astronomical sums, especially when verified by professional grading services. But the mysteries of the 1945 Wheat Penny don't end there. Another category of errors includes double die obverse and reverses, where the coin shows clear signs of doubling on inscriptions like "Liberty, in God we trust," or the date 1945. This doubling occurs when the die that strikes the coin receives more than one impression from the hub, slightly misaligned, creating overlapping details that give the letters and numbers a ghost-like shadow. On high-grade specimens, this doubling can be dramatic and immediately visible even without magnification, making it one of the most sought-after varieties for error collectors. Some 1945 pennies also show repunched mint marks, especially those struck in Denver or San Francisco, where the mint marks D or S were applied to the die by hand multiple times, resulting in slightly shifted secondary impressions that can be seen under magnification. These repunched mint marks, or RPMs, are fascinating to collectors because they capture the human element of minting from an era before full automation. Even tiny differences in alignment can make a coin unique, and when such coins are found in uncirculated or proof-like condition, their values soar. Beyond doubling and mint mark errors, the 1945 penny is also known for striking errors that occurred due to the heavy usage of dies during wartime. The Mint's machinery was operating at full speed, and quality control standards were stretched thin, resulting in coins with off-center strikes, die cracks, lamination errors, and broad strikes. An off-center strike happens when the blank planchet isn't perfectly aligned under the die, producing a coin with part of the design missing. The more off-center it is, up to a certain point, the rarer and more valuable it becomes, especially when the date is still visible. Die cracks appear as raised lines across the coin's surface, formed when the die begins to fracture under the immense pressure of repeated strikes. Some 1945 pennies even have large cuts, where a piece of the die breaks away completely, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin's edge. These striking flaws, far from being defects that lower value, actually increase desirability because they tell the story of how the coin was made under intense conditions. Another rare variation of the 1945 penny includes coins struck on foreign planchets. During and after the war, the U.S. Mint produced coins for other countries, and sometimes foreign blanks accidentally got mixed in with U.S. planchets. That means a 1945 penny could have been struck on a thinner or thicker piece of metal, or one made of a different alloy entirely. These wrong planchet errors are extremely rare and have been known to bring 6- and 7-figure prices at auctions. Combine this with any of the other errors mentioned, like doubling, off-center striking, or a die break, and you have a coin of legendary status, one that easily reaches multi-million-dollar valuations in the eyes of collectors. The 1945 penny's high value is also boosted by its connection to a historical moment, the final year of World War II. Many collectors and investors attach sentimental and patriotic value to coins minted in significant historical years, and 1945, marking both victory and transition, holds a special place in American history. Coins from that year symbolize the end of struggle and the return to peace, making them more than just currency. They are historical artifacts. The combination of rarity, error, and symbolism gives the 1945 penny its near-mythical reputation. In some cases, even the color and surface of the coin can affect its value dramatically. Pennies struck that year were supposed to be made of bronze, 95% copper, and 5% zinc and tin, but variations in metal composition and striking pressure led to differences in color and texture. Some coins appear with a bright reddish luster, while others have deep brown or dark wood grain-like patterns caused by uneven alloy mixing. These aesthetic differences, when combined with error features, can make one coin stand out among thousands. The most famous 1945 error penny said to be worth $8 million reportedly combined several extreme mistakes. It was struck on a leftover silver dime planchet, features a strong double die obverse, has visible die cracks through link and shoulder, and remains in near-perfect uncirculated condition with full original luster. Experts suggest that such a combination could only happen once in millions of strikes, and the survival of such a coin without wear is almost miraculous. The appeal of this coin goes beyond metal or minting. It's a piece of living history that represents a moment when the mint, overwhelmed by production demands, unknowingly created a masterpiece of imperfection. It's the very embodiment of how chaos and precision can coexist in the minting process, resulting in something priceless. Collectors worldwide now hunt for 1945 wheat pennies in their collections, looking for those small hints of doubling, off-metal tones, or unusual mint marks, hoping to uncover the next great discovery. What makes these coins truly special is not just their value, but the mystery they carry. No one knows exactly how many exist or how many varieties are still undiscovered, which keeps the excitement alive in the numismatic community. The $8 million 1945 penny has become a symbol of possibility, a reminder that even in a pile of ordinary coins, there might be a hidden treasure that can change everything. Every coin tells a story, but few tell one as compelling as this, a story of war, technology, craftsmanship, and pure chance colliding to create something extraordinary. For anyone who loves coins, history, or the thrill of discovery, the 1945 wheat penny serves as inspiration to look closer, to appreciate the small details, and to never underestimate the power of an error. Because sometimes, one tiny imperfection can turn an ordinary piece of copper into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece, proving once again that in the world of coin collecting, anything is possible if you have the curiosity and the eye to find it. Next, 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Today we uncover the unbelievable story behind one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in American history, the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny that shocked collectors by reaching an incredible value of $5 million. a coin that proves how small minting errors and subtle variations can transform an ordinary one-cent piece into a life-changing discovery. The 1946 Wheat Penny might seem like just another post-war coin minted in huge numbers, but hidden among those billions are a few extraordinary specimens that stand apart because of the rare and dramatic mistakes made during the minting process, mistakes that today make them worth more than anyone could imagine. The 1946 penny was struck in the aftermath of World War II, during a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning back from wartime materials and dealing with leftover metals, worn dies, and experimental compositions, all of which created the perfect storm for minting anomalies. Most 1946 cents were made from the standard bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but due to the transition from the wartime 1943 steel cents and the temporary absence of tin in the 1944 to 1945 issues, the 1946 pennies show numerous composition inconsistencies, leading to varieties that can differ slightly in color, weight, and even texture. Some of these coins were accidentally struck on leftover planchets from earlier years or from foreign coin blanks, which has made certain examples incredibly rare. Imagine finding a 1946 penny that's not bronze at all but silver-colored, lighter in weight, and magnetic. These are the kind of wild errors that have sent collectors into a frenzy, especially when one of these unusual coins surfaces at auction and fetches a mind-blowing price tag like $5 million. One of the most famous and valuable 1946 Wheat Penny errors involves being struck on a leftover steel planchet from 1943, a metal that should never have been used again after that year. Yet due to a few steel blanks remaining in the presses or storage bins, some 1946 cents were unintentionally struck on them. These off-metal errors are among the rarest in U.S. coinage history because they represent a literal mix-up of eras, a mistake that slipped through the mint's quality controls unnoticed. When discovered decades later, they became instant legends, with collectors willing to pay astronomical sums to own one. But that's not all. There are also examples of 1946 pennies struck on foreign planchets, possibly intended for other nations whose coins were being minted in U.S. facilities at the time. These coins show odd weights and slightly different diameters, revealing their unusual origin. Some experts have even speculated that a few 1946 D pennies were struck on leftover silver dime planchets, which would make them even more extraordinary due to their distinct metallic sheen and lower weight. Such specimens, if authenticated, could easily justify the multi-million-dollar price tags because of their uniqueness and historical significance. Alongside these off-metal errors, the 1946 Wheat Penny also features some striking die varieties that have become the holy grail for collectors. The double die obverse variety is one of the most sought after, with noticeable doubling on the date, the word Liberty, and even Abraham Lincoln's profile. This doubling was caused by a misalignment during the die creation process, where the hub impressed the design twice at slightly different angles. The result is a coin with a ghostly doubled appearance, easily visible under magnification and often detectable even to the naked eye. When such a coin is discovered in top condition, it becomes an absolute gem in the numismatic world, commanding prices that skyrocket far beyond the expectations of even the most seasoned collectors. Some of these double die 1946 pennies in pristine condition have fetched six figures, but when a specimen combines multiple errors, say a double die strike on a wrong planchet, or a coin that was off-centered and struck multiple times, the rarity multiplies exponentially, making a multi-million-dollar valuation not only possible but justified. Another type of error that contributes to the 1946 penny's legendary status is the repunched mint mark, often seen on the Denver and San Francisco issues, where the D or S mint mark was hand-punched into the die more than once, creating overlapping impressions. These small details might seem minor, but in the eyes of collectors, They tell the story of how the minting process was far from perfect and how even skilled engravers could make mistakes that would later become prized rarities. Some repunched mint mark varieties are so distinct that they can be seen without magnification, and in higher grades, these coins are worth thousands of dollars. Combine that with an off-metal strike or die crack, and suddenly you have a unique coin that could sell for millions. Die cracks and die breaks are another fascinating error type found on some 1946 wheat pennies. These occur when the metal die used to strike the coins develops fractures or weak spots after repeated use. As a result, raised lines or blobs of extra metal appear on the coin surface, giving it a distinct and identifiable look. These imperfections not only add character but also serve as a fingerprint of the minting process, marking that specific die as one of a kind. Collectors seek out dramatic die cracks, cuds, where chunks of the die broke off completely, leaving raised blank areas on the coin, and even clipped planchets where the coin blank was improperly cut, resulting in a missing edge segment. All these factors can combine in extraordinary ways to create coins that are genuinely irreplaceable. The most famous $5 million 1946 wheat penny is said to have a combination of these traits. A double die obverse, struck on a leftover steel planchet with an off-center alignment, all preserved in near-perfect mint state condition. The odds of such a combination occurring are so astronomically low that it's like winning a lottery jackpot multiple times in a row. Its discovery set off a wave of excitement among coin collectors and treasure hunters, fueling the dream that a similar coin might still be hiding in someone's change jar, waiting to be found. Beyond its physical features, what makes the 1946 penny so captivating is the history surrounding its creation. The U.S. Mint was emerging from the wartime production chaos, reintroducing standard metals and recalibrating machines that had been overworked and repurposed for war-related needs. The process was far from smooth, leading to numerous anomalies. This period of transition means every coin struck carries a little piece of history, and when that history manifests as a mint error, it becomes a tangible link to a pivotal moment in America's industrial and monetary story. A 1946 penny in such extraordinary condition with such a rare error isn't just a coin, it's a historical artifact. It represents the human element of minting, the oversights, the imperfections, and the mechanical quirks that make each piece unique. For collectors, owning such a coin is like owning a piece of living history, something that connects them to the craftsmanship and circumstances of a bygone era. The 1946 penny valued at $5 million is not just about its metal or rarity. It's about the thrill of discovery, the beauty of imperfection, and the endless possibilities that lie within the smallest details. Every collector knows that value is built on rarity, demand, and condition, and this coin checks every box. It's rare because of its errors, in demand because of its story, and valuable because of its immaculate preservation. Imagine a coin struck nearly 8 decades ago surviving in perfect condition, untouched, uncirculated, and carrying within it a combination of minting anomalies that would never be repeated again. That's what makes it priceless. And what's even more inspiring is that coins like this have been found in everyday places. Rolls from banks, jars in attics, or old pocket change collections passed down through generations. So the next time you see a 1946 wheat penny, don't dismiss it as just another old cent. Take a closer look. Examine the date, check for doubling, test its weight and color, and inspect the mint mark. You might be holding one of those rare treasures worth millions, a coin that embodies the magic of error collecting and the thrill of numismatic discovery. Next, 1951 wheat penny. The ultimate destination for every coin lover and treasure hunter out there, where we dive deep into the incredible world of rare coins worth unbelievable amounts of money. And today we're uncovering one of the most astonishing and mind-blowing stories in American numismatic history. The 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny that has stunned collectors and historians alike by reportedly being valued at an extraordinary $650 million, a staggering amount for a simple 1-cent coin. But this isn't just any ordinary penny. This is a piece of minting history born out of a combination of rare errors, mechanical mishaps, and once-in-a-lifetime mint conditions that have elevated it from a humble copper coin to one of the most sought-after and valuable collectibles in existence. Imagine for a moment holding a small, reddish-brown cent that most people would overlook, thinking it's just pocket change, but in reality, you're holding one of the rarest and most error-filled coins ever produced by the United States Mint, a coin that collectors would spend a lifetime trying to find. The 1951 Wheat Penny, part of the iconic Lincoln Wheat Cent series that ran from 1909 to 1958, was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. But somewhere in the complex minting process, an incredible combination of minting errors occurred that would produce a handful of truly extraordinary coins, unlike anything else from that era. The story begins with the transition period of the early 1950s, when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with die preparation, metal composition consistency, and press calibrations following World War II material shortages. During this time, even small misalignments or die fatigue could result in major minting mistakes, and the 1951 pennies were no exception. Some examples from this year exhibit remarkable double die errors, where the lettering, date, and even parts of Lincoln's portrait appear clearly doubled, a result of the hubbing process where the design was impressed onto the die multiple times with a slight shift between strikes. The most famous of these is the 1951 double die obverse, where the word liberty and the phrase, "In God we trust," show visible doubling under magnification, and in some extreme cases, even the date itself appears doubled, giving the coin a striking and easily noticeable difference from ordinary cents. But the truly legendary 1951 penny that reached the mythical $650 million value reportedly possesses a unique combination of multiple error types, including off-metal striking, double die obverse, reverse misalignment, and a planchet anomaly that together create an unprecedented level of rarity. According to reports from collectors and expert evaluations, this coin may have been accidentally struck on a transitional bronze planchet left over from the 1943 to 1944 steel-to-copper transition period, meaning it could have been struck on a leftover experimental alloy or even on a foreign coin planchet that was mistakenly fed into the press. This kind of hybrid minting error, where the coin's composition doesn't match its intended design, has historically resulted in record-breaking auction prices, as seen with other rare pennies like the 1943 copper cent and the 1944 steel cent, both of which have sold for millions. But the 1951 coin goes even further, as experts claim that not only does it have composition anomalies, but it also features a doubled reverse, where the wheat stalks and lettering, 1 cent, and United States of America are slightly offset, making it an ultra-rare double-sided error coin. To add to its mystery, some numismatists believe this particular specimen was struck during a mechanical failure that caused a partial collar strike, giving it a slightly expanded rim and an off-center alignment, creating a unique elliptical shape not typical of standard cents. The coin's incredible level of preservation only amplifies its value, as it is believed to have been stored in pristine condition since its minting, retaining full luster, sharp details, and minimal contact marks, a condition numismatists refer to as gem mint state, which in combination with its errors makes it truly one of a kind. The U.S. Mint's records from that period also show that a small number of dies were replaced mid-year due to inconsistencies, meaning it's entirely possible that a single experimental die or damaged press could have produced only a handful, or even just one, of these error-filled pennies before the mistake was discovered and corrected, thus creating what may be the rarest Lincoln cent in existence. Beyond its minting errors, collectors are fascinated by the 1951 penny's historical context. This coin represents an era of post-war American recovery when the mint was under pressure to maintain mass production while also modernizing its machinery, and as a result, quality control sometimes slipped, allowing remarkable error coins to escape into circulation unnoticed. The sheer improbability of a coin like this surviving undamaged for decades makes it even more valuable, as many pennies from that period were heavily circulated, worn, or melted down. When the story of this particular 1951 penny surfaced, the numismatic world was shaken, and collectors began reevaluating their own coins from the early 1950s, searching for even the slightest anomalies that might link them to this legendary error. Some lesser error 1951 pennies, such as those with minor off-center strikes, die cracks running through Lincoln's head or the wheat stalks, or repunched mint marks where the S or D was struck multiple times, are also valuable, fetching hundreds or even thousands depending on condition, but none approach the mind-blowing rarity of the unique specimen valued at $650 million. Auction houses that specialize in rare coins have reportedly received numerous inquiries about this penny, and while few have ever seen it in person, verified documentation and expert grading suggest that it stands alone as a once-in-a-century minting marvel. The mystery surrounding its discovery adds to its allure. Some say it was found in an old coin collection passed down through generations, while others claim it was pulled from circulation decades ago and safeguarded ever since by a private collector. Its exact origins remain shrouded in secrecy, but what is undeniable is the magnitude of its numismatic significance. A coin like this not only represents a minting error, but also tells a story of history, craftsmanship, and chance. The 1951 penny series also had other interesting quirks worth noting. Some specimens exhibit die deterioration doubling, where wear on the die gives a false appearance of doubling, though this is usually considered a minor variety compared to the true double die. Others were struck slightly rotated, creating a dramatic visual effect when the coin is flipped over, and a few even have retained die clash marks, where the obverse and reverse dies accidentally struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving faint impressions of Lincoln's silhouette on the reverse or wheat stalk outlines on the obverse. Each of these details contributes to the mystique surrounding 1951 pennies, but none match the grandeur of the ultra-rare $650 million piece that defies all expectations of what a penny can be worth. Collectors often dream about finding such a coin, and this story fuels that passion, the idea that somewhere out there, hidden in a box of old change or tucked away in an attic, could be a coin that turns out to be worth more than a mansion, more than a sports car collection, even more than an entire estate. The incredible valuation also reflects how demand drives value in the coin market. With only one known example and limitless collector interest, the theoretical price can skyrocket beyond imagination. And that's exactly what makes the 1951 Wheat Penny such a fascinating legend. It's not just about metal and design, but about history, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. Every time a collector picks up a 1951 penny and inspects it closely under a loupe, they wonder, could this be the one? Could this be the error coin that changes everything? The combination of minting errors, accidental planchet composition, and extraordinary condition make it an irreplaceable piece of American minting lore. So next time you come across an old wheat penny, take a moment to look closer. Examine the date, the mint mark, the lettering, and the edges, because that tiny coin might just be hiding secrets worth hundreds of millions. Last 1951's Wheat Penny. We're talking about the mysterious and highly valuable 1951's Wheat Penny that has been reported to be worth an astonishing $4 million because of its incredible minting errors, rare mistakes, and unique conditions that make it one of the most desirable coins in American numismatic history. Imagine finding a single cent from 1951, a small brown copper coin that most people overlook, only to realize that this tiny piece of metal could change your life forever. The 1951 Wheat Penny, minted in San Francisco, is part of the beloved Wheat Cent series that ran from 1909 to 1958, featuring the famous portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse designed by Victor David Brenner, and the classic wheat ears on the reverse symbolizing prosperity and unity. But in 1951, something extraordinary happened inside the San Francisco Mint. A series of subtle yet powerful minting mistakes and die errors occurred that gave birth to one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever struck. While millions of normal 1951 pennies rolled off the presses, a tiny handful emerged with unique characteristics that defied normal production standards. These were the coins that would one day be worth more than entire collections combined, with one exceptional specimen reaching an unbelievable $4 million value thanks to a combination of rarity, condition, and mint error perfection. Some of these errors include the extremely sought-after double die obverse, where the date 1951 and the word Liberty appear doubled or shadowed, the result of a die being impressed twice at slightly different angles. Under magnification, this doubling gives Lincoln's profile a ghost-like outline, making the coin immediately stand out to sharp-eyed collectors. Others feature the reverse doubling, where the words 1 cent and United States of America show clear signs of duplication, an error so striking that it has driven auction bidders into fierce competition for ownership. Then, there are off-center strikes, a phenomenon that occurs when the planchet isn't properly seated in the striking chamber, causing part of the design to be missing. Depending on how far off-center the coin is, and whether the date remains fully visible, the value can rise dramatically. The more dramatic the error and the clearer the date, the more the coin is worth. Another key factor that makes the 1951 penny so fascinating is the existence of off-metal strikes, meaning that instead of being made from the typical 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc alloy, a few were accidentally struck on foreign planchets or leftover blanks from other denominations. Imagine a 1951 penny struck on a dime planchet, lighter in weight and smaller in diameter, or one struck on a steel or silver planchet left over from wartime production. These accidental creations are so rare that they are considered once-in-a-generation discoveries. Such coins have fetched record-breaking prices at auctions because of their sheer improbability and historical intrigue. Another possibility that adds to the mystery is the existence of transitional errors, where the mint may have used leftover steel planchets from 1943 or slightly altered copper alloy blanks due to post-war material shortages. A coin showing magnetic properties or unusual coloration can spark immediate interest among professional numismatists, who test the metal composition using advanced spectrometry tools to confirm authenticity. Then, there are the famous repunched mint marks. In 1951, the San Francisco Mint hand-punched the S mint mark onto each working die, and sometimes that punch wasn't perfect. This created what collectors now call RPMs, or repunched mint mark errors, where you can see two overlapping S marks slightly offset from each other. These small imperfections, invisible to the naked eye but striking under magnification, can multiply the coin's value many times over, especially when paired with other die varieties or pristine surfaces. The 1951 penny also exists with die cracks and die chips, raised lines, or blobs of metal caused by worn or damaged dies. Some cracks run across Lincoln's bust, through the date, or along the rim, creating unique visual patterns that make each coin distinct. Larger die chips that appear in Lincoln's beard or near the wheat stalks on the reverse are especially collectible, as they create identifiable personality for the coin, something that fascinates error enthusiasts. A few coins even show what's called a cud, where a piece of the die actually broke away and left a raised blob of metal connecting to the rim. These major die breaks are among the most dramatic minting errors, and can turn an ordinary cent into a rare gem worth thousands or even millions. Beyond physical errors, condition also plays a critical role in determining why this 1951's penny could be worth $4 million. Imagine a coin that was struck with full sharpness, has deep red original luster, and shows zero signs of wear or spots. When certified by top grading services like PCGS or NGC as a mint state 68 red or higher, such a piece becomes nearly priceless. Only a handful of coins from the early 1950s exist in such flawless condition, and when one of those coins also displays a dramatic mint error, the combination becomes irresistible to collectors and investors. Over the years, coin grading and preservation have revealed that the 1951's pennies with certain doubling patterns, repunched mint marks, or off-metal features are exceedingly rare, making them the stuff of legend. Many collectors have spent years searching through old wheat penny rolls, coin jars, and estate collections hoping to find that one overlooked treasure. Some even use precision digital microscopes to examine coins at home, scanning every tiny detail of Lincoln's profile and the lettering to spot doubling, cracks, or anomalies. The fascination with this coin is not just about its price, but about the mystery of how such a small object survived decades of circulation or storage while keeping its unique identity intact. It's believed that the $4 million 1951's penny represents a specimen with multiple errors combined, possibly a double die obverse, a repunched mint mark, and a slightly off-center strike, all in flawless, brilliant uncirculated condition, verified by professional graders and auction houses. When such a coin surfaces, it attracts global attention, often featured in major numismatic journals, museum exhibits, and high-end private collections. The historical context also adds to its appeal. 1951 was a time when America was still emerging from the post-war era, and minting technology, though advanced, still relied heavily on human precision and mechanical timing. That blend of industrial craftsmanship and occasional human error gave birth to some of the most captivating mistakes in minting history. These coins are reminders of a time when every cent was hand-checked, and yet even with meticulous care, 1 in a million errors could still slip through. The 1951's wheat penny also connects collectors emotionally because of its design. The wheat reverse had been a symbol of American prosperity since 1909, and each coin feels like a piece of the nation's story. To hold one with such unique imperfections is like holding a fragment of minting history frozen in copper. Some experts even theorize that certain 1951's error pennies might have been test strikes, experimental pieces, or coins struck with reused dies from previous years that weren't properly repolished, leading to traces of old designs faintly visible under magnification, known as die clashes or overpolished surfaces. These coins often display ghostly outlines of design elements, like parts of the wheat stalks or Lincoln shoulder, creating hauntingly beautiful effects. As the coin market continues to grow, demand for such extraordinary error coins has skyrocketed, and wealthy collectors are willing to pay millions for coins that combine aesthetic appeal, historical significance, and unmatched rarity. The 1951's penny, once an ordinary piece of change, has thus become a symbol of how attention to detail and numismatic passion can turn everyday objects into priceless artifacts. Every element, from the thickness of its copper plating to the sharpness of Lincoln's eye to the tiny alignment of the S mint mark, tells a story of craftsmanship and accident intertwined.